Welcome to Crime on Caffeine. I'm your host, Erica.
And I'm your host, Allison. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Today, we be sipping on a coffee I found on the good old World Wide Web of Amazon.
That's where we started.
I know. Bring it back to our roots. Also, I just needed to get something quickly and easy to get to both of us. So I found the Wild Sheep High Caffeine, aka double caffeinated coffee pods.
I don't need this right now.
I don't need it, but I need it. It's so much. But I took Erica's advice and I'm not sipping on pumpkin creamer today. I went holiday creamer.
What is it? Peppermint mocha?
Yes, but I mixed in a little bit of that oatmeal cookie one that I like. So it's like a cookie, but peppermint mocha, but cookie.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited, pretty jazzed up, and I don't know if it's the creamer or the coffee.
Oh, I need to get some holiday creamers, but I need non-dairy. So if anybody has any suggestions, let me know.
That's my problem. I had to literally search high and low for the non-dairy ones. I went to Target, so try Target.
Don't tell me to go to Target.
Go to Target, I dare you.
I went there for deodorant the other day and somehow walked out spending like $130.
Hey, that's how it happens. Today I got stressed out for like 5 seconds and I spent $350 on Amazon. So,
wait, and we both bought Christmas trees.
You bought a Christmas tree there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I did buy a Christmas tree. Fun fact, guys. I literally had to Olympic javelin throw my Christmas tree to the curb a few months ago, I think. I was trying to get it down to move something, and I saw a white spider. It was white.
I really want to look it up because I want to know what it looks like, but I'm also scared.
Don't, because my skin crawled when I had to look it up.
Well, I don't live there anymore, so I'm not scared. Oh, was it a ghost spider? I've seen one of those down there before.
I don't know what it was, but I had never seen a white spider, and my initial reaction was to literally Hulk throw it from the garage down to the street. I cleared the entire driveway.
Where was Max? Isn't that his job?
He was just at work, you know. And I was...
Well, he should have came home.
Immediately. I just call him, hey, there is a white unidentified spider on the Christmas tree. I'm going to need you to come home.
I'll keep it here until you get back.
Well, then it just made me think to myself, are there other spiders in this box that I'm not seeing? And that's why I threw it.
Oh, I think about that all the time.
Yeah, I panicked.
Nate and I, we were staying at his parents' once, and we stay in the basement there because that's like where his room was before we moved. And I was just, doing a little inspection and crawling. I lifted up the pillow for some reason, my instincts, and crawling under the pillow was a spider. Like, we would have never known. We would have just been sleeping with it. Burn the house. We would have eaten it in our sleep.
Burn the house down. Any true crime news?
Anyway, true crime? What?
Any true crime news?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, me either. I'm also coming for Erica's gig on this one because today I'm doing an unsolved case. And you guys know how much I really don't appreciate an unsolved case.
Yay, I'm so excited.
Oh, I bet you are. I hate it. I have literally just been... My mind goes into like 1,000 different realms of what the hell could have happened. But I did want to dedicate this one to the Swedes because we talked about them on the last episode, how they are like our 4th or 5th highest listeners. And so I promised you guys that I would bring you a worldwide case, and here's my worldwide case.
Yes, they're the 5th highest. So thank you guys.
Yeah, shouts out to Sweden.
Luna just said thank you.
Aw, that was so nice. Wow, she's very vocal about it. She loves Sweden.
Luna. Okay.
We hear you, sis.
Okay.
Thank you, Sweden. Thank you, everyone, for continuing to support us in our podcast journey. We did drop in the charts. So where the hell are you guys?
Yeah, what's happening? If you
We're
guys
not
maybe want to
panicking.
like tell people about our show, that would be nice.
Yeah, like we're not panicking or anything. Don't even worry about I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm fine.
Yeah, not worried. It's fine.
Yeah, and like not even worried. But like thank you to everybody who does listen to us. And we would love more of people in this world to listen to us.
Yeah, so tell anyone, tell your friends, tell your Starbucks barista, tell your neighbor, tell your mom and dad.
Love that. And if you're feeling good about us and our podcast, you can follow us on all social medias. It's just Crime on Caffeine. You can go to our website. It's also just Crime on Caffeine. Or you can email us. It's just crimeoncaffeine@gmail.com.
Everything is Crime on Caffeine because that is the name of our show.
Yes, welcome. We are unwell today. I will mention that. But yeah, so here I am with an unsolved case that is going to drive me nuts for the rest of my life, and I'd like to let it drive you guys nuts for the rest of your lives. I'm going to try to make this as easy to follow as possible, but I'm not going to lie to y'all. Some weird things start to happen.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. I can feel it.
Some weird things start to happen and some theories start to get thrown around, and then you're like theorizing. So just buckle up, buckle in, and let's take a ride on down to Sweden. This is the unsolved case of Annie Borjesson. Have you ever heard of this?
I think I have. I'm not going to Google anything though.
Don't you dare. Just listen to me speak.
Yes, I will.
Okay, here I go then. Annie Borjesson was born in Sweden in 1975. Her friends described her as a kind woman who treated everyone fairly. She appreciated rules and, always adhered to them. It was said that she looked at life through a positive lens, rose-colored glasses, if you will, never letting herself stay down or disappointed for too long. She was selfless and cared deeply for the people around her. She was smart and well-rounded. On December 3rd, 2005, 30-year-old Annie Borjesson left her apartment in Edinburgh, Scotland, to go to the Prestwick airport in hopes of catching a standby flight on Ryanair to Sweden. Annie was originally from the wonderful land of Sweden, as I mentioned, but she had moved to Scotland, the land of my peoples. Fun fact, I am a large percentage Scottish.
Wow.
I know. Anyway, Annie moved to Scotland in 2004, settling in Edinburgh because of its history and culture. According to Medium, she was half Hungarian. She stood about 5'8", athletic build, with the expected Swedish blonde hair and blue eyes. She was a gifted linguist and talented musician, and she spoke 5 languages fluently.
Wow.
Including English. Yeah, I know. I was like, dang, I can't even speak English right.
Right.
Alongside her being active in a band, she also played all over Europe. She always had some fruit juice with her or dark chocolate, which I love that. She loved food and she always ate very well. She was strong, well-built, active for her lifestyle, and she actually was studying English in Edinburgh while she was there.
This is like the most well-rounded human I've ever heard of in my life.
I know. She had a scholarship to the Scotch Whisky Heritage Center, and she's so smart, and I envy her. On December 4th, 2005, a man walking his dog alongside the Prestwick beach stumbled upon the body of a woman on the shore.
No.
I know. This body looked like it had possibly been washed up by the tide since it was covered in sand and seaweed. Believed to be suicide, the body was identified as that of Annie Borjesson.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they think it was suicide?
Oh, girl. When I said buckle up, that was part of the buckle. Just stay in that seat. No hands or feet outside the aircraft. Before an autopsy had been performed, the press announced that there was no suspicious circumstances in the death. And basically, that is a euphemism for it was an accident or an illness or suicide. So they're saying No suspicious circumstances.
That's stupid.
Well, suicide, huh? Well, I don't know. Annie was said to have no financial worries whatsoever. She'd been receiving unemployment from her home country of Sweden, and when her body was discovered, they found money in an uncashed check. She reportedly had never had an issue paying her rent and even had what they call a leisure card, which I can only assume is something like a debit card. Annie had a little trouble finding a job in the hotel industry, but this was not a large issue in her life. She continued to live a life of singing, swimming. She went out walking every day to explore. She occasionally would go out and enjoy a drink or two. And Annie was really careful with alcohol. She could drink, but she was always modest about it. And she was just the kind of person who never felt the need to get drunk in order to have fun or be able to speak or dance with others. So she was fine with just, going out having fun. She didn't need alcohol. One night, she was gallivanting around a place called Club Mood, and this is how she met New Zealand rugby player Martin Leslie.
Oh.
Except this man was not Martin Leslie.
Oh?
Yeah. He actually was just some Joe Schmo catfishing women trying to impress them with champagne and stories about being an international celebrity. And he ended up showing up at the pool that Annie frequented, and she admitted she had never seen him there before. He was very much so her type, and it's very strange that she wouldn't have noticed him because she was also a pretty big fan of the Murrayfield Warriors rugby team, and she went to games pretty often, and she never saw him. And that made her feel a little unsettled. So she even alerted her friends and family about him. Right off the bat, didn't like his vibe. She vibe checked him.
What a loser.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, the day before Annie's body was found, she originally left her apartment to head to the airport and fly home to Sweden. Maria Jansen said, "The last time I spoke to Annie over the phone, we spoke about all the fun that we would have when she arrived in Stockholm. And she told me that she would book an appointment with her hairdresser. The only thing that was bothering Annie at the time of our conversation was the strange behavior of the man she met named Martin Leslie." Annie met this man whom she knew as Martin Leslie 2 times during the last week of her life. The first meeting made her feel a little scared, and during our last phone call, she told me about his strange behavior at a rugby gathering at Murrayfield Rugby Club. She told me that she had now decided to try and keep away from this man. So, Martin Leslie's not going over very well. Hard pill to swallow. Despite having only met him twice, Annie told her family that she regarded him as a sexual predator, and she was planning to cut off all contact with him.
Good.
Yeah, right? A report in the Scottish Daily Record says that her last email was sent to former Scotland rugby star Martin Leslie from her Edinburgh apartment, but nothing in that email showed that she was suicidal. Annie's family was starting to worry more and more about her death and the ruling of it being a suicide. So obviously, people started looking into their interactions with Annie in the recent weeks/months. Her mother said she sounded troubled in a recent phone conversation that they had, and a staff member at the Linton Court apartments where she stayed mentioned that she was depressed and even mentioned that Annie had said to them that she was going to, quote, take care of something and had made a decision that might change her life.
What?
Yeah, so I'm just going to insert my own opinion here. It seems to me like that decision could have very well been to move back to Sweden, not to kill herself, but I mean, I digress.
I like where you're going with this.
She very clearly wanted to go back to Sweden. She kept telling other people, she couldn't find a job in Edinburgh, and, she had gone back and forth a few different times from from Edinburgh to Sweden. So I just don't think that the whole had made a decision that might change her life situation was her committing suicide. But that's just my opinion. I'm just one person.
I'll be 2.
Why, thank you. On December 1st, just 3 days before Annie's body was discovered, Borjesson, who is Annie's mother, spoke to Annie on the phone and expressed her and the family's worry, to which Annie responded saying, "You have to respect this, but I have to take care of myself." I tried to find some context for this because it I just find it weird that someone would say, you just have to respect this, but respect what?
Her decision?
To do what? There's no context. Why can't I find the context? Anyway, Scottish police later said, wait for it, Scottish police later said that there was no record of that phone call and that Annie's phone had received no calls in the 3 days leading up to her death. So I don't know why the mom would even say that.
Yeah, what?
Or, yeah, I just thought that was wild.
I don't even know who's telling what, who I should be looking at right now.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I told you to buckle up. Are you still buckled up?
Yeah, I'm buckled. Luna is buckled.
Okay. That same night, a Thursday night, Annie made a call to a friend in Sweden and claimed that she was going to a party that night starting about 10 o'clock. She was pretty vague about the details, but seemed pretty excited to go. No witnesses ever came forward to say that they had been there or that the party even existed in general. So there's another weird, unconfirmed story.
I'm very confused.
Right? There is, however, a record of her at Glasgow Central Station on December 3rd with 2 separate attempts to withdraw money. First for 100 and then the second for 50. But both of those transactions failed for insufficient funds. So this is where things start to form a bit of an evidential story.
I thought she had bands.
Well, you know what? I thought she had bands too. And I looked it up. Evidential is a word, so don't When I wrote the word evidential, I'm like, that ain't real. But it is. They didn't red or blue line me, so hit me with the Grammarly. So, Annie made her way 32 miles to Prestwick Airport. Some other sources say 80, but I'm pretty sure it was 32 miles.
You say it like you were there.
I was there. I know. Well, more reports said 32 than 80. There was only like 1 or 2 that said 80, but most of them said 32. I read a lot of articles here, people.
She did her research.
And I even looked it up on Google Maps. It was like 31 miles to be exact. But you know what?
Oh, hell yeah.
I was just getting a lot of different answers here, and I was like, what? How far? Investigators have speculated that she intended to catch the 6:30 flight to Gothenburg because that's what she told her hairdresser, Inger Nosborn. That is a Swedish name for you. In Annie's luggage, she had her Swedish passport and 2 library books, intending to return them to the library in Sweden. She did not pre-book a ticket, yet regularly kept money in her Filofax organizer. Keep a hold of this Filofax organizer, everybody. This is an important item of Annie's. She took it everywhere with her. However, despite making that 32-mile journey that I just talked about, she only spent 4 minutes and 41 seconds at Prestwick Airport.
What? I've never heard of that in my life.
4 minutes, 41 seconds.
Nobody spends only 4 minutes there.
I'm telling you. Okay. So during her very short time there, Annie exited to the short-term parking garage for reasons that have never been uncovered. And the weird thing was that there's no cash machine in the garage, so her family maybe speculated that she'd been meeting somebody there. CCTV from the airport showed images of Annie exiting the parking garage looking pretty upset, like almost angry, and speculated that the person that she had been meeting didn't show up. Something super weird about the CCTV footage as well. It showed her going distances in times that reenactors literally could not possibly replicate without physically running, almost sprinting.
What?
They were thinking frames must have been removed and the times must have been altered on this footage because it said that she moved the length of a terminal in 55 seconds.
Okay, but like, why would they even...
I know. Independent investigators determined that this should have taken well over a minute and a half at a normal walking speed. And she moved that length in 55 seconds. She's a runner. She's a track star. I mean, she was very athletic, but that just seems very fishy.
I'm just imagining the detectives like running back and forth and like timing each other.
The reenactors trying to do it, and they're just like fucking booking it for this airport. Either way, Annie never made the flight, obviously. She left. During another CCTV analysis, at 4:05, a figure carrying a backpack was seen walking on Station Road. While police believe this figure was Annie, Some other people don't agree, saying that they think that the person was in fact the man that she was supposed to be meeting.
The rugby player?
Maybe, we don't know. But police said they would take the footage as definitive proof of how Annie made her way to the beach. A retired detective said, I would question this identification. I have extensive experience of examining CCTV footage, and I must say honestly that the images from Station Road are rubbish.
Yes, tell them.
Right? Complete rubbish. I may assume that it's Annie, what with the time and the travel direction, but detectives should never assume. They work with facts, not assumptions. We know Annie ended up on that beach, but the whole story is not known. They simply don't have a full picture of what happened. They know the start, they know the end, but they don't know the middle. In my opinion, they haven't achieved the mark in this case. Thank you, retired detective with the border police.
Love him.
I don't know who he is, but bless him. Bless.
I believe him.
Because he is the only one speaking any kind of truth up in this. At 4:30, which was only a little under half an hour later, from the CCTV footage of somebody carrying a backpack on Station Road, there were two men walking at Prestwick Beach, and they spotted a figure standing at the edge of the water. It was said that the person was standing pretty motionless, like almost to the point where it was kind of scary, and they were just staring out to the sea.
Okay.
Continuing their walk, they eventually turned around and headed back the way they had come. The individual was still standing there, still motionless. The two men were pretty concerned about the mannerisms of this person, and they got a little worried that the person might be contemplating suicide. Brushing off the concern, they minded their own business and headed home.
What?
Yeah, that pissed me off. Like, call somebody. Hey, I think this person's in trouble. Or just say, hey,
You good?
you good?
Like what?
Blink if you're good.
This person literally could have stopped this all.
Yes. Anyway, standing 150 yards away, they couldn't be sure if it was a man or a woman, so they just kept saying it was a figure. Police never asked if the figure resembled Annie, yet despite this, a solicitor, General Frank Mulholland, told the Swedish embassy that a witness statement indicated that someone fitting Annie's description was seen standing at the water's edge, looking out at the sea at about 4:30. Excuse me, Frank. No one ever confirmed it. So what you talking about? The comments of Frank Mulholland also ignore the second report that suggests Annie had been seen talking to two men on the shore between 4:30 and 5 the same day. Whether this means the first report is incorrect or that the second report is incorrect, there's no chance in knowing. We have no idea.
I don't know what to think.
That's the whole case, is I don't know what to think.
What a mess.
I haven't even gotten to any of the weird parts yet.
Okay.
As I stated in the beginning of the case, her body was discovered right there on the beach around 8:30 the next morning. Hear me out. Her body was discovered with her bag and her coat next to her. But if you think about it, it's extremely unusual if you take into consideration the currents in the water. They have tidal records from the days leading up to her death. It just doesn't make sense that if she went into the water to commit suicide, to drown herself, that she would wash up on the shore next to all of her belongings.
Yeah. Or if she left them there, that she would wash up on the shore in that exact spot.
That's what I'm saying. How? It was then speculated that her body may have been placed there. Because wait for it, investigators later would find that there was unknown DNA on her hands.
Shocking.
When police originally were on the scene, there was no forensic team called. No swabs were taken, no fibers were taken, no water was sampled, and they never engaged the Coast Guard to find Annie's missing belongings, which included her fleece top and the Filofax organizer that I mentioned she had at the airport and that she had on her at all times.
Luna's pissed.
Luna is so mad, and so am I. They are failing her. Piss me off. Okay, finally, we do have some autopsy findings, though. The autopsy report revealed an unexplained depression in the skin, small bruises on the temple, scratches to the left arm, and square contused areas on the right arm. Police basically chalked all of this up to objects in the water.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Were they just like particularly lazy, or like at this point they were like, well, we've already botched it this much?
I could not tell you. Her lungs and air passages showed signs of congestion and froth, which is common in victims of drowning. However, not included in the report was damage discovered once the body returned home to Sweden with the undertaker, which is apparently a person whose business is preparing dead bodies for their burial or cremation and making their arrangements for funerals. I've never heard of it called an undertaker, but the only undertaker I know is the wrestler, so I guess I'm not that smart. Anyway, the undertaker found extensive bruising on her side, a palm-sized bruise on her right arm, and a bruise behind her ear that was larger than anything described by the pathologist. Body tissue was removed, and it was found to contain tiny diatom shells in the sample, identifying them as Navicula lanceolata. Don't make fun of me because I'm not a scientist and I don't know species names or genotype names or whatever the kind of name that is. Anyway, there were shells found in her body tissue.
How does that happen?
I have no idea. And the weirdest part was that these shells aren't found in salt water. They are found in fresh water.
So where did they come from?
That's what I'm saying. She couldn't have drowned.
Someone just like bring them along.
She couldn't have drowned in the sea if. Oh my God, there's just nothing makes sense. An independent study by Annie's family found that there was algae also, and the algae was highly unlikely to have come from the sea. So that's two items that were found on her, shells and algae, that were more likely to come from fresh water than salt water. They kind of came to the conclusion that Annie possibly drowned in fresh water and then was moved to the coast. So obviously she didn't kill herself in fresh water and then move her own body to the coast.
Yeah, that would be a little hard to do.
Yeah, again, showing that I don't think she committed suicide. However, one specialist pointed out that she may have had it in the bone marrow long before she passed away through drinking tap water. The Swedish authorities refused to do another test on the body to prove whether Annie did indeed die in the sea, but,
Why?
Nothing makes sense. I don't know why they didn't do a test. I don't know why they're saying that she died somewhere else when she was found at the coast. I don't know why they're saying that these things came from tap water. I drink tap water. Does that mean I have these things in me? In my bone marrow? Okay. Some other really weird information, not that anything else I just said was not that weird, but some other weird information that I gathered from the autopsy was that around 4 centimeters were found to have been cut from Annie's hair. Her hair was typically waist length, very long, beautiful blonde hair, and some reports even say that it was cut choppy and short. Initially, they feared that this might have been the work of a killer, but it was later discovered that the undertaker had cut her hair because it was matted with mud and debris. But they looked and asked with other undertakers, is this normal practice? Everybody said that that's highly unusual and nobody does that. And the family gave no consent to have her hair cut. And even weirder, the autopsy report showed that she had long hair when it was conducted. So it had to have been the undertaker. And I don't even know what, now I'm wondering to myself, is the frickin' undertaker corrupt too? What is happening?
Everybody is at this point.
Why the hell did he cut her hair off? If you thought all of that was corrupt and wacky, this is, where you're really going to freak out. After searching for the contacts lost in her Filofax organizer, Annie's mother, Guge, logged into her Hotmail account. The Hotmail account had been wiped.
What?
Yeah, her email account had been wiped. The Scottish Daily Record's knowledge of the whole email to Martin Leslie and how they came up with that being the last email she had sent. Remember that I said that earlier on? Yeah. Now, nobody knows how that happened if this whole Hotmail account was wiped. So that's fake too. I don't know. Then Annie's best friend, Maria Jansen, started to, try to do things her way. She attempted to obtain details of her own telephone calls that she made to Annie around the time of her death. They didn't exist.
All right. Who is doing all this?
I don't know. There was not a single record of any call made between Maria and Annie for months.
That's her best friend.
I know. And while Annie herself may have deleted the emails, the lack of phone records definitely was just like beyond insanity. Like, how is this happening? Her best friend Maria started to have some trouble accessing her emails after that. And she started to get really silent phone calls. Then...
Nope.
Remember when I was like, this isn't even the crazy part yet? This is where turbulence is all I've got to say. Maria discovered the existence of a U.S. journalist by the name of Christina Borjesson. Annie's full name had been Annie Christina Borjesson. And Christina, she was an intense critic of U.S. foreign policy. It's believed that she had been investigating the CIA's rendition program that ran through, wait for it, Prestwick Airport.
I'm literally so confused at this point.
I have chills. How is this a thing?
What?
How is this a thing? According to Medium, the rendition U.S. policy had a history that goes back all the way to the Reagan years. It was during the War on Terror that the Bush administration began regularly flying terror suspects to CIA black sites abroad. This allowed the security forces to, circumvent their own nation's laws of torture. The British government under Tony Blair allowed the flights to refuel and resupply at Prestwick, often carrying illegal detained prisoners, aka lots of fancy explanation for extra legal transfer of prisoners between countries, according to Fox News. In 2018, a report on the scandal was filed by the Intelligence and Security Committee. Two of the people involved in the report were Dr. Sam Raphael and Professor Ruth Blakely. They said that they believed that one of the flights had even contained Khalid Mohammed, which was one of the masterminds behind 9/11. While the US and the UK governments continued to deny the claims, a Scottish Green MSP, John Finney, said that the airports under direct control of Scottish ministers are clearly implicated in the crimes. That was wild, I know. But this kind of brings us to the possibility that Christina Borjesson was in Scotland to investigate Prestwick using the name Annie Borjesson. And she had attracted maybe an unwanted attention of security services, like the CIA or the MI5. And while this may be plausible, the Swedish government had since refused all requests to make the files public. And they said that they're classified and any release of the information may do harm to the national interests. Show us the files.
The turn this case took.
Yeah, show us the files. What do you mean? If it's not real, then show us the files. What's in the files?
What?
In fact, Swedish Foreign Minister Daniel Andersson said, information has been deemed classified as secret according to the provision of Chapter 15, Section 1 of the Public Access to Information and Secrecy Act, and has been redacted to the attached file. The reason for this is that the information concerns Sweden's relations with foreign state and foreign authority, and it can be assumed that the disclosure will damage Sweden's international relations or, in other ways, harm national interests. They go over the files further in a 6-part podcast called What Happened to Annie by Sky News, if you want to listen to that. Basically, the Swedish government said, nope, can't see it. The British government has a long history of spying against individuals. Suspected of being an undercover Christina Borjesson, this would have undoubtedly included Annie. For 4 decades, Britain's police ran a covert operation that has become known as the Spy Cops scandal, utilizing 140 undercover officers to report on over 1,000 political groups, The undercover officers went to extreme lengths, apparently, to build relatable personalities, target people, utilized names of dead children, fake documentation was created. Like, they went the whole 9 yards to, have these identities.
Like that rugby guy.
Maybe. Sometimes these, undercover officers went to such great lengths that, they entered sexual relationships with many of their targets. Incredibly sketchy considering right before she died, Annie had told her father she was going to get married.
What?
Yeah. She asked her brother how people could be traced on a computer as well. And then she asked her family to not contact her phone anymore. So, at her apartment, all of her toiletries, makeup, toothbrush, toothpaste, they were all missing. So were her 2 new pieces of underwear and her favorite t-shirt that she slept in. And you might be thinking, well, duh, she was going to Sweden. She obviously had to pack. Well, not duh. They weren't found in her bag either. So it was believed that she must have been sleeping over somewhere else. Possibly this man that she was going to marry.
It would make sense.
So here's a theory. We mentioned the first theory in this was suicide. It's quickly turning into a whole different story now. So a different theory is that Annie was approached by an undercover officer. This officer, who we don't know, we are kind of suspecting that it's that Martin Leslie guy. He believed Christina Borjesson was keeping hold of a cover story, so he weaseled his way into her life. Sworn to secrecy and believing she had found love, she was ready to travel to Sweden with her new man to surprise her family. But Annie was heartbroken after being abandoned at the airport parking garage, as we mentioned previously, and the undercover officer probably realized that she wasn't Christina. Again, that's just a theory. Nothing was confirmed on that end. Mostly, I personally don't think we can rule out murder because there's so many loose ends, but I did read that it's highly unlikely that they would just kill a journalist. It's also really unlikely that there was an identity issue because those can be just disproven pretty quickly. And it was also 2005. Obviously, you don't need to be in the Secret Service to find a photo of somebody at that time. But the top and missing Filofax might be pointing to trophies taken by a killer. And statements to Annie's family might also suggest that there was an influence of a controlling partner, or even some have theorized a stalker, possibly. Which brings us back to the sexual predator that Annie was so very uncomfortable with, Martin Leslie. Annie's best friend, Maria, explained that this Martin guy was very aggressive towards Annie. She said she thought he was there with the New Zealand rugby team during the big rugby games. She also thought that Martin Leslie had been too persistent with trying to get her to drink alcohol. She, however, declined his offer and thought that it could possibly be the reason to his strange, aggressive behavior because she was telling him no and declining him. Because we all know a man hates to be denied. But unfortunately, we have no answers. All of these theories spinning around, all these autopsy findings, loose ends that were never looked into, they just failed this woman. They completely failed her. Annie's mother, Guge Borjesson, told Sky News she was troubled by Sweden's decision to shroud her daughter's death in secrecy. Since her death, Annie's mom has been relentlessly trying for officials to investigate her daughter's death further. She met with the First Minister Alex Salmond in 2008. Scottish actor Ken Stote even joined the family's calls for answers, and a 3,000 signature petition was presented at the Scottish Parliament at the end of 2013. So far, her appeals have been denied, and the family is said to have lost faith in Scottish justice.
Yeah.
Annie's mother made a statement by saying, "This is a beautiful country with lovely and caring people. Please do not leave them and our family with all these unanswered questions. All we want is a fatal accident inquiry into Annie's mysterious death. Please let us know why Annie had to die in the country she loved." On a website dedicated to getting answers about the death, the family offers Annie's Harley Davidson or the value in cash for information about her murder. So they're trying anything at this point for somebody to come through with some kind of information.
Damn.
Annie was laid to rest back home in rural Sweden. Every year, her mother creates a new little arrangement for her with vibrant flowers in the summer, hedgehogs and apples in the autumn, and both gingerbread houses and Christmas trees in the winter. I know. At the spot where Annie's body was found, a plaque was erected in her memory. Nobody knows who put it there, but it says, Annie Borjesson, born 7th of February, 1975. Found dead the 4th of December, 2005. Her loved ones never found out how or why. A blot on Scotland's reputation for fairness.
Oh.
I know. That end, though, took a dig right there at Scott. If you have any information regarding Annie Borjesson or, the events that occurred that weekend, please visit her family's campaign. We're going to put it on the website. It's just called Annie's Campaign. We'll link it there. And that can tell you who to contact. All in all, I'm still stuck on this Filofax. I'm not going to let it go. Where the hell is it? She carried around with her everywhere, and it's just never been found. All in all, my opinion is that she didn't commit suicide.
Yeah.
And that this was, in fact, a murder, and it's bothering the shit out of me that no one gave a crap to investigate it any further. This poor family, they've been going through this for 16 years now, and they just have no answers whatsoever.
I think I agree with your theory.
None of anything makes sense. And I feel like going through the whole episode, reading all of it, the family must have felt so just baffled. People were coming out of left field with any kind of theory. Somebody theorized that their daughter was an American writer. How? Imagine being her family. They were probably like, no, Annie is not.
It's so frustrating.
Christina Borjesson of the USA. They had to deal with all of that. And honestly, I just feel like the whole thing was completely unfair. And this is why I don't do unsolved cases, because I can't stand it. And everything was done wrong. And this poor girl was failed. And that's my 2 cents on it.
I think you're right. Did a better job than the police.
Right. Obviously, I don't have a psychological profile for you guys, but I did go over some theories like Erica usually does with her cases that you clearly can't do a psychological profile with. But yeah, that was Annie Borjesson. And I hope you guys understood everything I said, because I even confused the heck out of myself at some points.
I want to know what our Swedish listeners think about this one, because I'm sure they've heard about it.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago. It was 2005. So, pretty recent. Let us know. Comment on our posts. Follow us. Email us. DM us. Do whatever you got to do. But thank you guys so much for listening. And I'm so glad that I branched out and did an international case, because I had never heard of this. And now I'm glad that people in the United States will be able to hear about it.
You did great.
You did good.
I will not be branching out. I am literally doing an unsolved Chicago case.
You're sticking to your brand, though. I went off-brand.
Very on brand.
And I am never, I say that, but I'm probably going to go off-brand again. But 2 weeks from now, you're not going to get an unsolved, because this has just eaten me alive. I haven't slept, but that's probably due to my dog getting surgery. But still, it's because Annie has not gotten justice. I'm also a little too hype right now. This coffee,
The double caffeine.
It's coursing through my veins. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And again, please keep sharing the podcast. We're on our way to 9K. That rhymed, and I didn't even mean to. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. Subscribe. Erica's just staring at me.
Because I was going to say something.
Say it.
If we get to 10K, Allison will do another unsolved.
I hate you, but I will do it. I'll do it.
So
don't tempt me with a
share.
Good time. Share, follow, subscribe, write a review. All of it. And, we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening.